Okay, hello everyone and welcome to this new video. As you can see, I've got this new camera here that should make it easier to follow along and see the settings a lot better than you used to. And yeah, I thought I'd make a quick video about a workaround that I just developed and to get a clock signal into the modular or into the Neutron, and use the Neutron as a MIDI to clock converter basically. In the past I explained how you can use the assign functionality to use it as a MIDI CC to CV converter, but of course you can also use it to send a clock. And a clock is nothing but a pulse basically, and if you want one that works continuously, then you gotta sequence it. The workaround is based on another one that I used with a DAW, Korg Volker and a Korg SQ1. The pulse is different, and sometimes if you want a tempo sync or if you want to have tempo changes inside the project, and what you did then was you record the sync pulse and put it just on your timeline in your DAW on every downbeat, and then you would have a sync. And the sequencer, the SQ1 in that case, would follow along. Anyway, so yeah, that's where I was coming from, and I thought, okay, let's do this with MIDI. On the number 8 is my Neutron, and I use this channel now for the melody, and I need a new channel for the clock. So I just select the last one here, double tap on the source page, select channel 8 and confirm. So this channel I will only use for this the clock signal. So of course you would think like, how can you send something to it if you're not sending a note? That's quite easy with this sequencer here, and probably with a DAW. You just go into the record mode, and by default when you place a trigger it will be red. But if you hold on function, it will be green. So it's a silent trigger that will not send a note on that specific time. That means, because this is a monophonic synthesizer, it would overlap if you would use this note to also send something to the machine. So that's why we use the green one. And then the next thing we need is a CC value that we want to send on the downbeat. So I use mod wheel because that is one of the few CC values that the Neutron understands and translates into the assign output here. You can set this up by holding down the oscillator sync button until the range knobs start blinking, and you can see that also the LFO here is blinking. And then you can use it as a left and right button, essentially, and go across all the wave shapes here on the LFO. And each one stands for a different CC value. The last one here that says breath control, pulse is mod wheel 1, and the top one is the note velocity, and then we got here CV A and B. So when we're at the pulse, just hold down oscillator sync until it stops, and then it's configured. So that means when you now via MIDI send CC1 values, these values will be translated to assign, and then you can use them wherever you want. Okay, so now on our sequencer, that means we have to find where the mod wheel is sent, and by default on Octatrack it's on CC2. So that looks alright, so we activate the button CC2, and now we can control it. And since we want the gate signal, we need something that is 0 and max. So basically go from 0 to 127 and back. So that would be our clock. We have our silent trigger here, so all we need to do is to hold it down and put it to the maximum. And that means when a sequence starts, it sends an on, but we also need an off signal, so we use step number 2 here to send a 0 right after that. And now we got our simple loop here on the 1, on off, on off. Now the next thing that I did was I went into function pattern settings, and change the scaling to per track. That allows me to limit the number of steps on this particular track to a certain number. And when you hold down function and scale, you can set the length you want without affecting everything else. That's what they mean with per track. So I set it to a very short 4-step loop because I only want to configure this on off once. I don't need to repeat myself here. It's just a shortcut basically. So let's listen to it. You can see it follows along. You don't hear any notes. When I go to my playing track, I can still play the synth, even though we know that something is being sent here continuously. Now when you watch here at the top, I chose the what's called the sample and hold because it has an LED, so you can see visually that it pulses in time. And of course now follows along the tempo. Okay, so that works. That's how you get a clock. And now you can of course use the sequencer to do more funky stuff. Just offset it to only come on the offbeat by holding down function, pressing left, right. You can also copy this trigger and create your own rhythm. Basically, you can now place your wherever you want. If you would have the full length, you have all possibilities. And now it blinks twice as fast. And also you can use the scale functionality. And then at the end here you can see it's 1x. And you can increase this to 2 if you want, and then it's twice as fast. So let's exit this out. And of course everything else in between is possible as well. Quarter, half, and so on. So that gives you a lot of options to send the pulse to your modular and to do whatever you want with it. So yeah, that's a workaround for getting a clock into the Neutron without anything extra. And okay, so yeah, that's how you can do it. I hope you liked this video. Yeah, leave a like, leave a comment if you have any questions about these two machines or how you go about it. But yeah, that's pretty much all the steps that you need. So yeah, enjoy your new clock source. Thanks for watching.